We have all seen it happen. A student aces their written grammar worksheets, but when forced to speak in a real conversation, they freeze. They know the rules on paper, but they can't access them in the moment. Task-based language teaching, or TBLT, offers a structured solution to this disconnect. It treats language as a tool for communication rather than a list of isolated rules to memorize. Grab a piece of paper. Right now, we are going to build the foundation for a complete TBLT lesson plan. Before we start, pick a specific age group and proficiency level that you currently teach. Putting meaningful tasks at the center of your lesson forces students to use the language to achieve real outcomes. That practical application builds the confidence they need to actually speak. Step 1 is defining the task. A valid real-world task requires an information or opinion gap. Your students have to actively communicate with each other to bridge that gap and reach a final product. This matrix categorizes appropriate tasks by age group. The right selection depends on the maturity and interests of your learners. For young learners, you might have them design a dream playground or plan a birthday menu. If you teach adolescents, they could plan a class trip on a strict budget or solve an escape room logic puzzle. For adult classes, the scenarios shift. You might have them role-play a landlord-tenant negotiation or build a detailed one-week travel itinerary for a visiting colleague. Choose one of these outcomes or invent your own and write it at the top of your paper. Success in this lesson depends on whether the students can use their existing knowledge to negotiate meaning and complete this specific objective, rather than correctly reciting a grammar rule. Step 2 is the pre-task. This is where you activate the students' background knowledge. Introduce the topic and give them a short list of 3 to 5 useful vocabulary words. Below your objective, write down the instructions you will give the students. Keep them simple and direct. Do not teach specific grammar rules at this stage. If you explain exactly how to construct the sentences before the activity begins, you revert the entire exercise back to a traditional, isolated drill. By holding back the grammar instruction, you ensure students rely on the language they already possess. That temporary struggle preserves the authenticity of the task. This flowchart illustrates the 3 internal stages of the main activity: task, plan, and report. Notice how your role as the instructor changes at each stage. First is the task. Students work in pairs or groups to solve the problem you set. Your job is to act as a silent observer. Monitor the room and take notes on their errors, but do not interrupt to correct them. Next is the planning stage. Students prepare a brief oral or written report of their findings. Here, you step in as a language consultant, offering support and refining their output only when they ask for help. Finally, the report. The groups publicly present their final decisions to the class, shifting their tone to a more formal, structured register. As you execute this cycle, your classroom will likely get loud. That noise signifies active, authentic language use. Students will hit roadblocks, searching for the right phrasing. Working through that friction using their linguistic resources is the exact mechanism that drives acquisition. You are shifting from a lecturer to a facilitator. This structure prioritizes their actual, spontaneous output over controlled repetition. Step 4 brings us to the final 10 to 15 minutes of the lesson, the language focus block. This chart highlights the difference between unstructured conversation and TBLT. Instead of predicting what grammar the students might need before class begins, you are responding to the specific gaps they just demonstrated. During the analysis phase, look at the notes you took while observing the room. Identify the specific functional expressions or grammar structures they struggled with while trying to bridge the gap. Then move to the practice phase. You design focused drills targeting those exact observed gaps so they can practice the correct forms. Add this final language focus section to the bottom of your paper. Because you address grammar after the communication attempt, the students learn the rules within a meaningful context they just personally experienced. Look at the draft you've started. You have established the structural foundation for a TBLT lesson. By defining the objective and the setup, you have the architecture ready. As you populate these sections with specific group prompts and drills, you shift your teaching away from isolated rules toward active acquisition. When you introduce this format, expect some initial student resistance. They are likely used to getting the grammar rules handed to them immediately. Ask them to trust the process. To evaluate their progress, look beyond traditional tests. Assess the actual outcomes of the tasks, the clarity of their group reports, and the language improvement you track during that final focus stage. Anchoring your lessons in this cycle, moving from free communication to focused analysis, balances fluency with accuracy. It builds the specific skills students need to navigate unpredictable, real-world conversations with technical precision.